Hello and welcome to the Slip Slip Sis YouTube channel. My name is Che. I am half of your Slip Slip Sis duo, and I am coming here today for you with a special video. It is January 29th, so we are about a month into 2023, and I recognize I am a little late to the game after seeing everybody's Make 9 that they were doing and the great different videos that a lot of folks are doing with their goals, the things that they want to do this year, and it has taken me a whole month to get inspired and decide exactly what I want to do for 2023, which I think it's okay that you don't have to know, right on January 1st, exactly what you want to do with your year, with your crafting, with anything. So if I can give you permission to do anything, it's take your time, figure it out. The crafting journey is your own. And so I was also inspired watching what my sister is doing, where she's very dedicated to working through her whips, and she's on a yarn freeze. That's not going to be my journey this year. I am probably on like a yarn diet. I'm not going to prevent myself from buying anything, but I think I'll try and be maybe more intentional with what I'm buying. I think I'm just gonna buy what I want. I am gonna kind of focus on building up my DK yarn stash because I've been loving doing DK socks, and that's just something that I want to keep doing. I definitely have enough finger weight that I can hold double, but there's something nice about, just having that one ball of yarn for your sock project. But I digress. So for today's video, I want to walk through what my plans are for 2023. And as I was reflecting on what I really wanted to do, I'm not a really big de-stasher. I love my things, and I like having the more things makes me happy, and that's totally fine. And I actually have a very manageable number of whips going on right now. So what I want to do is be more intentional about using the yarns that I have set aside for certain projects or that I've thought of, but also using a lot of the patterns that I've purchased. I find that I often default to something vanilla as my knitting, a pattern that I've done before. But I'm often also very called, if you've been watching for a while, when folks are doing sales, may it be something they've made, their patterns that I'm like, yep, I'm getting in there. I'm going to support them, especially when there's a sale going on. So I have so many patterns that I have purchased for the Slip Slip Sis team, and so many of them that I have not made. I have ideas for them. And so I really want to take some time today to look through my Ravelry or our Ravelry, figure out really what patterns I want to be making for this year. Maybe there will be 9, so I have a make 9. Maybe there will be 6. Maybe there will be 12. So I thought it might be fun to walk through this journey. I'm also going to go through my yarn, specifically the yarn that I have sweaters quantity of, because I actually have a particular bin of all of my stash here that is all of the sweaters quantity that I would love to go through to figure out which of those I really want to use this year to make space for if I want to do sweater quantities in the future. So I may have to purchase a pattern to use that yarn. There's a couple of patterns I have yarn put aside for, but I just haven't purchased a pattern yet. So we're going to get a good balance of this is the yarn we're using for this particular pattern. I may have it, I may not, and these are the patterns that I have, and let's see what I have in stash to be able to create those. So let's start by going through the Ravelry. All right, so here is the Ravelry page for my sister and I did a little bit of cleanup before we got going. So I want to pull up what I have in my queue right now. So these ones are patterns that I have definitely been thinking about doing. We have Something Cozy by Shayna Billow, the Multnomah Falls hat by Kay Hopkins, and then Pink Fizz by Andrea Mallory, which my sister and I are going to do together. So these are ones that I definitely think will stay in the queue for 2023. And then I also have kind of a chaotic favorites area because I share it with my sister. So there are a couple of things that have just been on the burner for me So these scrappy stripy socks, I already did those. I love the way that Kay does those. So those are favorites. I can remember how she did them. I just, if you watched our latest episode of our podcast, did the muscle burra this in as much as I could, the same way that Nitty Natty did hers. So that's in there so that I can remember the measurements. I have had my eyes on this Dinosaur Dig stocking, which cannot remember who the designer is right now. I don't think that one is gonna come in for 2023. I'm just not really feeling like it yet. Plus, I don't have the yarn for it. So I'm trying to focus on things that I either already have the pattern for or already have the yarn for. Since I'm doing the something cozy, I think I'm just gonna hold on the Stay Cozy, which is another Shayna Billow pattern, which I also love the fit of that. And then this is a pattern that I saw when we went to the Sierra Nevada yarn crawl. One of the folks at one of the yarn stores was wearing it and I loved it, but I don't think I quite have the yarn that I need for that yet. So I'm gonna hold on that one for now. These are just some other things that we've been looking at. Daydreamer is something that we've been thinking about, but this one, the Ravello sweater, I love the way that Carrie of Stolen Minutes did her Ravello sweater, because she did, I think the way the original pattern is, it just has a few stripes, but she basically used like an advent for it, and I already have yarn put aside for the Ravello sweater and have pulled it out and I've got it. It's a pattern by Isabel Kramer. I'm obsessed with this. Again, like I said, already have the yarn for it. So I think I am going to go look this one up. See, this is the original, but I do want it to stripe the entire way. So I think this one I am going to possibly add to queue for 2023. And we're just going to not worry about all the details yet because I'm a little bit not super organized about that, and we'll just save that. And then let's go over to our library. So there is a lot of stuff in our library. We are very lucky to have all of these things. Some of these are patterns that we have won, patterns that we have purchased, etc. So there are a couple in here that I have been wanting to work on for a while. And so I am just going to scroll on through. You can see there is a lot going on. There's Pink Fizz. There's that Something Cozy. I would love to do the Nurtured sweater, but I'm not sure on how I feel about that one right now. Actually, the Pierre pullover is something that I am working on right now, so that feels very exciting to have that there. So let's see what else we've got going on here. A lot of good sock patterns. If you've been following us for a while, you know that Gabs and I are doing a sock swap where we have traded sock yarn for the month of, the year of 2023. And we have picked 12 different patterns that we're going to do for each of those months. So that takes up a lot of the sock patterns that we've purchased. We still have more than that, so I can absolutely do more. But I'm going to focus now for at least today on like the bigger projects. And I think this prismatic sweater is going to be one of them. Yeah, I've had this one for a while and I think it's really, really pretty. I've also found that these kind of yoked sweaters end up fitting me a lot better. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add this to my queue. All right, now let's figure out, I think I've only added 2 more to the queue, but let's figure out where we're at. Okay, so we have the Something Cozy, we have the hat, we have the Pink Fizz, we have the Ravello, and we have the prismatic sweater. Awesome. So I think that might be, let's go back. Let's go back to the library, figure out what else we've got. We were on page 2, yes? Is there anything else that, and you're just getting this kind of like very raw, very organic with me because I have prepared for this. Not at all. Many of these patterns we have already made. We had the pleasure of testing quite a few of them, so that was really nice. Like we tested La Habra, we tested Salem, great patterns I've already made. Boot weather, so this is also kind of nice for me to kind of walk through. Yes, I remember this was one more that I wanted to do, which was the Weekender Light by Andrea Mowry. and I've been really kind of eyeing this one. So, and I do believe I have the yarn for it. So that is exciting. I'm going to add this one to queue. And then there is one more that I have been looking at in terms of wanting to do, well, we're back at the main screen now for this. I have wanting to do a boxy sweater, but let's go see if I have the yarn for that. So we're gonna stop here and go explore Chaley's stash. All right, so we have pulled the yarn for all of the projects, and I am very pleased to know that I do have yarn for all of the different patterns that I want to make this year. There are only one, two, three patterns that I do need to purchase. So that's not bad. I have 7 that I want to make, and as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing I forgot to pull yarn for one of the patterns. Whoops! So because I got excited and found yarn for a different project that I want to make. So please hold, let me go pick out some yarn for one of the 7 that I'm planning to make this year. All right, we've got it now. And I found, while I was looking for more yarn, extras of yarn that I need for a different sweater that I'm already planning to make. So I think we're good. But before I go deeper into this, I realize I keep saying 7 because I've queued up 7 sweaters or garments that I want to make this year. But actually I have 8 that I have been wanting to make because one is actually in progress. And yes, we are totally on the floor right now because that's where I have the most space. So here we are. But I am nearly done with the body of my Pierre pullover, which is a pattern by Stephen West. And so this one I had been wanting to do not for too long, but I think a couple months. And so I had been going back and forth on what yarn I wanted to use. And I got this beautiful yarn from Blue Fiber Company, and this was actually a mystery. So when I got this ended up being perfect. It's a fade. It's my first fade. I think it's going okay. But I'm nearly done with this. So this will kind of be the first sweater to kick off 2023. I'll probably try and finish the body today, which seems very doable since it is DK weight. But let's get into all of the other ones that I want to make this year. And one of them is kind of counting on my sister and whenever she's ready to make it. So let's start with that one. So again, if you've been with us for a while, you know that we had the pleasure of working and partnering with Kimber of Kimber's Cozy Creations, and she created a custom colorway for my sister and I that we are completely obsessed with, and it is called Purpinkle. And it's called Purpinkle because Gabs' favorite color is purple, my favorite color is pink, thus Purpinkle. So I, excuse the crinkling, have a full sweaters quantity of that, plus a, sock set for it. That's the extra one here. I already have socks made up with the yarn, and we actually have a pattern. It's called the It Takes Two socks, and so those were designed specifically for this yarn. So if you're interested in that, please go check that out. I will make sure that I link it down below, but I keep putting it down. This is a sweater that we want to make together so that we are matching. This is actually the extra. So I have plenty of extra from my sock, and this will go with the sweater's quantity of yarn just in case I need some extra. And that's what we're gonna do together to make the Pink Fizz sweater. And that is a pattern. Let me go back to my cue here by Andrea Mowry. It does require mohair, and I think Gab's got mohair for hers. I have found that mohair makes me too hot, especially being here in Southern California. So I am just gonna fuss with it and adjust as I can to do it just with fingering weight yarn without the mohair, and I think it'll be just fine. So that is, I have no particular order of the way that I want to do things. I'm just gonna have them all ready and pull the one that is calling to me most once I finish that PR pullover. And so the next thing that I pulled yarn for is the prismatic, right? Yes, the prismatic sweater. This is the one that I just pulled the yarn for, so I'm kind of excited about this one. That is a pattern by Wool and Pine, and it's got color work in it. So this is what I'm going to use as my main color. This is, oh, I'm sorry, the clouds just came out, so the lighting isn't as good, but this is a beautiful colorway by Neighborhood Fiber Company. I got this at my very first Stitches West that I went to with my sister and my dad. It is called Alice Gadzinski, and it is a 100% superwash merino. They're rustic fingering. It is single ply, and I have been holding on to this baby for a while. So as my contrast colors, I'm going to do this one, which is Highland yarn. It's a sock yarn. My friend Elizabeth, who lives in Virginia, she actually dyed this up. So I don't believe it is named, but doesn't that just go lovely? And then the other contrast, that we're going to do is this kind of fun, rusty, orangey brown. This is a one-of-a-kind colorway from Earl Grey Fiber Company, and I used this on a sock test, so I still have plenty left, and there's not too much color work. It's just along the yoke, so this is going to be plenty of yarn for that. This one I'm actually pretty excited about the color selection, so I might do this one next, but I'm not sure. I know my sister has been on my case to do this something cozy, because that's what she wants to see me knit up. So let's look at that one next. So I did get the yarn for this in November, because for the Something Cozy by Shayna Billow, you hold this super fun boucle. I could be pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize if I am, but I think it's called boucle. So this is alpaca merino boucle fingering weight yarn from Knit Picks. It is their bare base. This is the only one they had, which is fine, because I'm also supposed to hold this one with mohair. I didn't really want to do that, so we're gonna experiment a bit, and I'm gonna hold it with a fingering weight yarn. Honestly, most of these are supposed, except for maybe the prismatic, are supposed to be kind of like flowy and loose. So if my gauge ends up being bigger, fine, it's a bigger sweater. Look, that's my style. I am here on the oversized flouncy train, and I am happy to be here. If anyone else wants to get on the train with me, you're more than welcome. So we're experimenting again. So I'm gonna hold these two together. I wish my lighting was better. It was lovely just a moment ago, but there's kind of some kind of deeper, like almost red bits in this yarn. This is Darjeeling sock from Earl Grey Fiber Company, and the colorway is flannel. I do have 3 of these, so should be totally plenty that I need for this sweater. I have 3 of these softies, and then these babies. So this will be my Something Cozy by Shayna Billow. Maybe I should do this one next though, because it's about to start being less gray and probably start getting hot soon, and this is gonna be hot to knit on. This is the only one I think that has like the fuzzy stuff, so I think I might do this one next, just temperature wise, because I made the mistake of knitting a Christmas sweater during a heat wave in Southern California, and that didn't go super hot for me. I was very sweaty, so maybe I'll do that one next. And then for my weekender light, I have been thinking about this for a while, and I think I need to do kind of a simple pattern for this yarn, because the yarn is like really bright and vibrant for me, and that is Honolulu from Destination Yarn. My uncle, or our uncle, Gav's and I's uncle, gets us yarn every year, and so he always chooses really exciting colorways. I love this one. I've worked with this yarn before. I've made socks out of it. For this one, because it is kind of this very stark variegate, if you will, I am going to have to do helical knitting, so I'm probably going to use Knitty Natty's tutorial for how to do that. So this is the letter fingering base, so it's 100% superwash merino, 400 yards. I have 4 of these babies, so this is going to end up being my weekender light, and I think it's going to be kind of fun and exciting because, I mean, just like, look how bright this yarn is, which, like, I love pinks. Like, I love pinks so much. I realize I don't often wear pinks that often. I'm more of like a neutrals kind of person, but I think this is an exciting time to maybe expand on the wardrobe, especially for my knitted stuff. So I'm kind of excited to do that one. And then I have been kind of drooling over everyone's Lace and Fade boxies, which is a pattern by Hoagie Locatelli. And so I dug a little deeper into the patterns that they have, and I found kind of like the original boxy, which I think is just called boxy. And I think that's a pattern that I do need to purchase. I don't have that one yet. So I'm going to purchase the boxy, and I'm going to make myself a boxy because I think that oversized kind of vibe is exactly what I wear. That's kind of my go-to for the weekends, for daily when I get home. So I think that one's going to be perfect. And I do want that one in a slightly more neutral, but because it's kind of at least from what I can see, I don't have the pattern yet, it looks a little bit more simple. I do need a yarn that excites me. So, oh, I hope you can see it. Yes. So this is another Destination yarn, and this is, our uncle kind of upgraded us on this one because this is on their first class silk base. So I think it's going to be perfect, super soft, comfy, supple, if you will, for my boxy. And the colorway is Fangorn Forest. So it's my understanding that that might be from her Tolkien collection. So it might be a Lord of the Rings reference. If anyone else knows what it is, feel free to comment down below. But this is what I'm going to use for my boxy. I might also need to do helical knitting for this as well. And then the last sweater plan of 2023, or the last one I'm going to show. Again, we can go vastly out of order. Probably won't do the Weekender Light and the boxy right next to each other because they both are relatively, I think, mostly straight knitting. So I might need to like mix it up, if you will. I got this a while ago and I have been wanting to do it, drooling over it, but just like, I don't know why I haven't gotten to it. So I want to do it in 2023. This is the Ravello sweater, and I, again, love the way that Carrie of Stolen Minutes did hers, so I'm going to stripe mine. This is going to be my main color for it. It's kind of it's coming out more white, but it is more of like a snowy gray. It is from Thistle and Heart Fiber Company, and the colorway is Pewter. So I think that's going to be so cute. And I am then going to use my Rebel Woolworks Advent. So I don't remember the name of the Advent. I got it it was my 2021 Advent, and I don't believe Rebel Woolworks is dying anymore, but it was a sparkle. So you can see there's like a bit of stellina in there. I definitely have more colors in here than I need for the actual sweater, so I will pick and choose which ones I want to use for the sweater, but I think it's gonna come out so cute. So maybe I should pick and choose the colors so that I like am ready to go. I don't have to spend too much time, but also like I might change my mind. So I'm just gonna keep it all collected in this nice little basket for now, so that that yarn can get picked out when I'm ready to do this sweater. And then the last piece isn't a sweater, but it is a hat that I have had my eyeball on for a bit, and that is the Multnomah Falls hat. And so I'm gonna do that one using this fun worsted weight yarn, which I believe is the only indie dyed worsted weight yarn that I own, which I accidentally bought because I wasn't paying attention and I thought it was DK. But here we are, and it's gonna work out because I wanted to do this hat anyways, and it calls for worsted weight, and I don't really have worsted weight. So this one is perfect. This is from MJ Yarns. They are out of Seattle, and I know that because I bought it at Pike's Place Market, which is why I was so thrilled and kind of like in a frenzy of excitement because I happened to be walking through there and I saw like in the market the dyer and all of his stuff, and so I was thrilled. This is their cool label. And then what was I saying? The colorway is berry pie. So I think this will be a super fun hat. I think it has some nice cables, and then I'll put a pom-pom on it. So I'm excited, and I think that's a good way to feel about your yarn and your knitting and all the things. And so I can't wait to get going on these. I am going to start working on the rest of my body for that Pierre pullover, and then probably call my sister, see when she wants to do Pink Fizz, so then that will help me kind of orient my other projects. But I'm excited for 2023, and if you have plans or things that you've been eyeing on, I would love to know what you're planning on. If you have any aspirational knits for 2023, please feel free to share them. And if you want to like and subscribe, I highly encourage that. But thank you so much for joining me on this kind of planning. I know I was a little bit chaotic there for a bit, but I can't wait for 2023, and stick with us to see the progress through the projects. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, evening, day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.